Secretary Buttigieg, you have recently, just earlier today, you've answered a lot of questions related to the slow implementation of the EV charging stations. And one of the conversations that you had, I thought was concerning, and I want to kind of touch upon it, was the statement that this push towards electric vehicles, even though there's a cost of slave labor, and that we're seeing, and it's not just cobalt. We've got lithium and other items that are being supplied by 90% of it is coming from China. So we're empowering someone who's an aggressor to the United States, and yet you're saying that it's fine so long as we're saving lives in America.
That's not an accurate characterization of what I've said. We wish you would have supported us in moving more of this onshore so it'd be produced in America, but the legislation did pass. And to take graphite alone, we're going to be able to supply, we estimate, 47% of it domestically. Nobody believes in allowing any product that doesn't meet labor standards to be imported to the United States. And if you'd like to work with us on making sure any of the 159 items of concern to include cobalt can be better enforced, we'd welcome that.
Your view that it saves lives.
We believe that preventing harmful pollution, well, we don't believe, it is a fact that preventing harmful pollution in the U.S. will save lives.
Have you done any calculations, given the current rate of fires that occur, and these fires, as reports indicate, take hundreds of thousands of liters of water to extinguish when an electric vehicle catches fire? Do you have any research that indicates how many people might die from some of these fires?
I haven't seen a projection of that. I'm sure you're aware that flammable liquids are also a safety concern, and either way, we work to make sure that they are handled in a safe fashion.
We're not seeing the reports of vehicles, like an epidemic of regular gasoline vehicles catching fire.
You're not?
Across the United States.
You've never heard of gasoline fires in
Does it take
vehicles?
150,000 liters of water to put out?
Are you familiar with what happened to the I-95 bridge? Let me assure you that the use of flammable liquids to propel hundreds of millions of vehicles includes hazards. Let me also make you aware that the American Chemical Society estimates that 9,700 Americans a year die from the pollution associated with passenger vehicle use in this country.
Let me ask this question. There's been reports of individuals who have been locked in an electric vehicle. There was a recent story. Renee Sanchez found her 20-month-old granddaughter stuck in an electric vehicle in the heat. The battery had died, and they couldn't get the child out. They had to call and get firefighters to come break the glass in order to get the child out. Just recently, last year, Secretary Granholm had an embarrassing incident where she had a PR tour that went south, was promoting electric vehicles and that push, driving across the country in electric vehicles. Apparently, she had an advance team that was in a gas-powered vehicle. That advance team occupied the charging station, the one charging station that a family needed, causing who had an infant, that family to have to call 911 so that they could make sure that they were able to provide some kind of care for their infant child in that heat.
I imagine you're aware that the number of publicly available chargers has nearly doubled since we took office, and we're investing to fill in the gaps. Now, 80% plus of charging happens at home, but for the rest of it, that's where those public chargers are so important. But we've just never been the kind of country that holds on to old technology because we're working on problems with the new technology.
Point, the American people are seeing what's happening, and they have serious concerns, and yet we're pushing ever more toward in this direction. And I don't know that we're actually taking into consideration the human costs that these are also bringing with them. The potential for batteries to die, people to be stranded in places without air conditioning, without support. And I would think that your administration would want to have those facts as well. How many people might die because of fires occurring from these batteries?
A battery dying is a problem, just like running out of gas is a problem, which is why we're investing in addressing that. I've just never thought of that as an excuse to hang on to dirty and expensive fuels and old technology.
Well, the American people disagree. They do
Well,
not.
no, the American
not
people
buying-
disagree with you because every year
They're
they
not
buy
buying
more
these-
EVs.
No,
Why do you think
the
they're buying
government
more
is
EVs
buying-
every year than before?
Because it was, present the numbers, because every.
Sure, 1.2 million vehicles were purchased last year, and every
And
single
how many of them were
quarter,
government?
how's that?
How many of them were purchased by the government?
Approximately 0.5%.
Of the number, you're saying.
Of the EVs, about 0.5% were purchased by the federal government.
The only reason why people are buying them is because of the subsidy.
Well, the subsidy makes them more affordable and helps people buy them. That's true.
Thank you. My time has expired.